This is The Pet Show with America's favorite pet expert, Warren Eckstein. Warren's the author of How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want, How to Get Your Cat to Do What You Want, and he's here to answer all your pet and animal questions. Now, say hello to Warren Eckstein.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to The Pet Show. Is your dachshund acting demure? They usually do. Are your purses behaving a little bit psycho? Does your Mastiff have you totally mystified? Well, if you love your dogs and adore your cats, and I know you do, and you really want to understand them almost as well as they understand you, if you're like me and you want to get inside your dog or cat's head and find out why they behave the way they do, you know what to do, right? Stay tuned, because once again, right here, right now, it is time for The Pet Show. That's right, America and Canada's first and only real pet psychology, pet training, pet behavior, and of course, pet lifestyle show. So hop up on my couch, bring those furry little buddies with you, folks, because it is that time once again to let the animal analyzing begin. Hello, everyone. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show, the place where we absolutely, positively, never a doubt about it, love, adore, and as I stress every single week, respect pets and animals as much as you do. By the way, if you want to join me on the Ever-Growing Pet Show family, if you find out why your dog is humping everything in sight, your cat scratched your favorite chair, your cat's not getting along with the new cat, your cat peed on your bed, your dog pulled you down the block, chases everything he sees, won't get in the car, you get the idea, right? If you have a question about your dog or your cat's behavior, and you want to find out how to resolve it in a positive, upbeat way, and also looking at it not only from your perspective, but from their perspective as well, great time to give me a call. The phone number here at The Pet Show, 877-725-8255. That's 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through. Let me just let everyone know. You've been listening to the show. We've been on for almost 48 years. You know, the phones get busy. We get real crazy here on the show. So what we're going to do, you can call that number 24 hours, 7 days a week. And what I'm going to try to do, and ask you a question, what I'll try to do is on next week's show or the week after, I'll get to more questions if possible, because I know we run out of time every week. So again, if you have a question 24/7, you can call 877-725-8255. Let me tell you what I have planned for today's show. What a busy, busy show we have. When some dogs have behavioral issues, and some do, it can sometimes frustrate their owners, and it can frustrate trainers as well. Think about this. This is really important. It breaks my heart sometimes. Is your dog in pain? Maybe your dog is in pain. Yes, pain can actually cause behavioral issues with your dogs. Many pet owners, even trainers, can overlook the fact that pain may be the problem, not the behavior. We'll take a look at that coming up in just a little bit. And for my cat lovers out there, and there are so many, for years and years and years, we've been told, hey, dogs are smarter, dogs can fetch, cats can't fetch. I can't say what I'm thinking, but I can say I may be crazy, but I've taught so many cats to play fetch, and they do. So does your cat play fetch? Give me a call, 877-725-8255. You know, dogs are always considered smarter than cats. I kind of look at it a different way. Dogs are brilliant, and so are cats, but cats have a little bit of an edge because they've convinced us that they can't be trained, so many cat guardians just leave them alone. But they can be trained. Take it from someone who's trained many of them. So the question again, can cats be taught to fetch? I guess the answer is Warren, if they want to. Also coming up, you can't turn on a news station anywhere and not hear about people having a little bit of vaccine hesitancy. Where am I going with this? We hear a lot about vaccine hesitancy with people. Well, now it's actually expanded to our pets, to our dogs and cats. To vaccinate or not to vaccinate? That is the question. I'll have the response coming up. And you know, it's kind of interesting. Our pets are part of the family, and we celebrate Thanksgiving with them. I do anyway. Set a little table, a little chair. We want our dogs and cats to be part of our Thanksgiving celebration. So what is safe to share with your pets on Thanksgiving and what is not safe? Can you give them turkey? Can you give them sweet potatoes? Can you give them stuffing? What can you give your dogs and your cats, and what can't you? We'll take a look at that as well. Again, the number 877-725-825. As always, plenty of time to answer all of your questions and your comments. So, if your pet happens to be chewing, jumping, confused about the litter box, very often it happens with a rescued cat, and bless you guys for rescuing so many. Maybe that beautiful dog you took from the shelter isn't totally housebroken. Your cat scratched your favorite chair. Your dog doesn't get along with everybody and believes if he sees anything, it's his opportunity and his job to hump it. Give me a call. Question of the day. Do you include your pets in the holidays? I do. A lot of people don't, but I include my pets in every holiday I celebrate. I'm cautious and I'm careful about what I do with them. For example, when I had cats, I would never put anything breakable on the bottom of the tray. So there's lots of things we do. So we're talking about Thanksgiving. A lot of people say, can I give my dog this? Can I give my cat that? We're going to take a look at that coming up in a little bit here on The Pet Show. Again, that number 877-725-8255. Also, what I've done is I've actually compiled a list. You know, over the years, and so many years we've been talking together, some of you have been grandparents, now have grandkids that listen to The Pet Show. I've compiled a list of the most common behavioral questions that I get on the show. And some of them are pretty easy and some of them are not so easy, but these are the most common questions I've received over the years. So we're going to take a look at that as well. And something I want to talk about here. I had a call this week from someone who said, hey, you know, Warren, I've been training my dog. The trainer comes twice a week. I train the dog every single day. I put in at least an hour a day with the dog trying to get the dog to respond. And you know what? My dog is either stupid or rebellious. Well, hold off, Jack. The stupid or rebellious one may not be the one on all fours. Listen to me carefully. It's critical, and I wrote this down because I really want to share it with you guys. It's real important. If you have a puppy or a rescue dog, you know that their attention spans can be short, in some cases very short. Even adult dogs have shorter attention spans than you may assume. So keep things fun for you and your dog. Keep your training sessions short and keep them sweet. Especially important for puppies to ensure they find training with a positive experience. It's also critical if you've rescued a dog, and I spoke to a couple of people this week that rescue dogs, and they were having difficulty training the dog. Maybe the dog's past experience with training, their owners, trainers, whatever, might have been assertive training or abusive training, and maybe they associate training with that. Not a good thing. So hear me out on this. Training for too long can cause your dog to burn out. Training burnout. There's a term for it. We call it training fatigue. I call it training burnout. I've got burnt out in school, learning too many things, and it happens to our dogs as well. We experience training fatigue as well. How does your brain feel? Think about this. How does your brain feel after sitting in a class for hours at a time? Here are some of the signs of training fatigue in dogs. Loss of interest in what they're doing, taking longer to respond to things they know, no longer interested in rewards like toys or treats, and increased nipping, especially with puppies. Sometimes you'll notice, and this is critical, as a trainer, as a behaviorist, as a pet owner, it's important to remember something we call in the profession displacement behavior. You know, all of a sudden your dog starts to yawn when you're working with them. That's displacement behavior. All of a sudden, your dog is sniffing, yawning, shaking. All of these things are displacement behavior. The dog's a little confused and concerned, and that's what he's doing. If you notice any of these behaviors during training, stop. You know, I was a horrible student in high school. There were 800 kids in my class. I think I graduated at 796. Great in college, lousy in high school. It's crucial to work with your dog at a pace they're comfortable with. Make it fun. Make it happy. They're going to want to learn. One day you'll wake up and the dog will come to you and say, hey, what else can I learn? Take it from me. Training fatigue happens to dogs, happens to trainers, happens to guardians like you. And if you have it or your dog has it, take a break. Take a break, go back at it a little bit later. The number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break here, then we'll get to some great, I got a call. I see we got Craig calling from New Hampshire. We got another call coming in from this one's coming in from Washington State. So we're going to get to all your calls in just a couple of minutes. The question of the day, do you include your pets on holidays? I hope you do. I'm Warren Eckstein. A quick break, then right back at your phone call. I believed in Mighty Mouse when I was growing up. Every Saturday morning was Rin Tin Tin, Mighty Mouse, Courageous Cat, and Minute Mouse. Now you know why I'm the way I am. Anyway, the phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. How about we go to our first call of the day? I got Craig calling from beautiful, and I mean beautiful. I spent a lot of time there, beautiful New Hampshire. Hey, Craig, welcome to the Pet Show.
Hi, my name is Craig, and I have a cat, and my cat is a Russian blue. He's all gray, no spots. And he's a healthy guy and runs around. I kind of feel like I've been feeding him a little bit too much. I can tell he's put some weight on, but I got a bad cold, and my cat seems like he's got something going on that is adverse to his normal level of energy. So I'm just wondering if, your animals, I've heard it before that they can catch your sicknesses, but it depends on what it is. But I just got a really bad head cold that I got. And I just had it for about a day or so, and I could tell the difference in the level of activity with my cat. So my question is whether or not a cat can get my cold, and if he can, what I could do moving forward to get him better. I think that it's just a matter of time, continue to do the same things, but I haven't taken him to a vet lately, so just looking for some direction here. Thank you for your program, Warren, and I appreciate the feedback. Bye.
All right, Craig, let me respond to you. There's a couple of things going on here. First of all, maybe it's the fact that you're not feeling good that the cat is picking up on you, not necessarily physiologically, but behaviorally and psychologically. That's always a possibility. But while I was listening to your question, I was jotting down a few things. So let me share them with you. Number one, most human diseases, not all, but most human diseases are species specific. What do I mean by that? They infect only humans or only animals. However, there are exceptions. We call them zoonotic diseases, can transmit between humans and cats as well. The cases are relatively rare, but let me go over a few things for you. It'd be very unusual for a cat to come down with a common cold from the owner or the guardian, because that's generally specific to humans. The type of flu that we get, again, generally doesn't affect cats, although cats have their own distinctive flu symptoms, but he didn't catch it from you. Stomach viruses, these gastrointestinal viruses rarely affect cats, but do. Now, there are certain diseases, bacterial diseases, and other diseases that, for example, bird flu, swine flu. These are types of flus that our pets can get. The other thing I want you to know is there are certain things like ringworm and other bacterial infections that we can get, that we can either give or get from our pets. So the bottom line is chances are, Craig, that your cat is not getting any type of disease from you. My feeling is there's been changes in your behavior and your cat's picking up on those changes. However, I just wrote this down as I was listening to you talk, and this is critical because I did a segment on this on my YouTube channel not long ago. I think I'll repeat it as well. If you live with a dog or a cat or other people in the house, common sense. If you're not feeling well, wash your hands constantly. Avoid that face. We all love our cat's face in ours and our dog's face in ours. Avoid that face loving, face licking until you're better. If you're sneezing and you're coughing, common sense. Stop sneezing. Cover your mouth. Cover your face when you're coughing. Don't share food with your pet if you're not feeling well. Not even food utensils. Keep your cat's environment really clean if they're acting different. And enhance their general health with good quality nutrition and fresh water. Now, Craig, you say to me that your cat's behavior has changed and you haven't been to the vet for a while. If the behavior seems to have changed at the same time you started feeling not well, sometimes our behavior, and even when I'm not feeling well, my dogs will get a little depressed and sometimes they'll get a little anxious. But if the cat has not been to the vet and you're noticing any medical issues that seem relatively unusual, severe, it's always a good idea to have it checked. So I guess my answer to your question is this. Can our pets get diseases from us? There are certain zoonotic diseases. However, for the most part, the common cold, the common flu, our stomach viruses, generally speaking, are kind of kept for us. But if you notice those changes, it's always a good idea to have it checked. But there's not too many dogs or cats that are going to catch our common cold. But check with your vet at the same time. Great call, by the way. Phone number 877-725-8255. Quick break. I'm Warren Eckstein. You're listening to The Pet Show. The bird is the word. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. I know the phones get busy. I know we go crazy. Remember, you can call that number 24/7. You're not going to get me directly, but you can ask your question, leave it there, and I'll try to get it on the next show where I can help you out, resolve any issues that your dog or cat may be having with you. So, what is the appeasement grin? If you live with a dog, you know this grin oh too well. A dog might show what's called an appeasement grin, also referred to as a submissive grin or a smile. Yeah, dogs smile. I'm not crazy. I guarantee you that 90% of you agree with me that your dog smiles. This is different to an aggressive display. You know, some people think their dog is growling. Doesn't mean the dog is aggressive. This is a good grin, an appeasement grin. They're showing this behavior when they're trying to diffuse some type of conflict that may be going on. So what does it look like? Generally, with this type of grin, look at your dog as I'm talking to you. The eyes are squinted and shut tightly. The ears are back. The teeth are exposed in a smile shape. And edges of the mouth are pulled back and up the sides. Now, I know what you're saying. How do I tell? Is it appeasement or aggression? You know your dogs better than I know your dogs. You can tell the difference. But sometimes, if there's an argument going on between people, if you've corrected your dog and the dog's feeling a little insecure at the moment, you'll notice this, what I call this appeasement type of grin. Very, very common. This is why I've been stressing to you guys for so many years. Videos. We all have cell phones now. Everybody has a cell phone, right? Video your dog, video your cat. You can notice all these different changes in behavior at different times, and it's a great way to determine. It's an absolutely amazing way to determine exactly what's going on at the time. Check it out. Let me take another phone call right now. Let's go to the great state of Washington. I love Washington State. Let's go to my friend Mike. Hey, Mike, welcome to the Pet Show.
Yeah, Mike Dawkins, traveling up in the high country in Idaho. Found a bag of 3 little kittens that were thrown out. 2 were dead, and I took home the last surviving one. Brought her home in a box in the garage, and I need to know, she's grown up a little, very protective of me. When a woman comes in my yard, she attacks them. And I want to know why that is. If she's protecting me or a woman threw him out of the car, I don't know. Anyway. Washington State here.
All right, Mike, let me answer your question, okay? It could possibly just boil down to the kitten's early upbringing. It might be that she was around more men than women, or she might have been around more women than men where women were aggressive. Generally speaking, between 2 and 7 weeks old is really important in terms of their behavior, which is where all the socialization takes place for cats and kittens. Maybe they had an interaction with her that particularly didn't like, or she enjoys the way men handle her better. It's interesting because generally cats prefer the way in which women interact with them versus men. So here's my feeling. It's possible that when these cats, I can't imagine someone tossing a bunch of kittens out of a cat somewhere in Idaho. It's cold in Idaho now, I believe. But anyway, bless you, Mike, for taking this kitten in. So I've worked with so many cats and dogs over the years that had a preference for men or a preference for women. My gut reaction is that the interaction she had with women obviously not positive, or perhaps she had no interaction with women at all. A couple of things I recommend, and this may sound a little weird or even a little eccentric. I never sound eccentric. When you're not home and the kitten's in the house, leave a radio on or a TV on where there's a lot of female voices on a very low volume so that the cat or the kitten can hear these voices in a non-threatening way. She may be a little fearful at the beginning, after a while, not so much. If you have some female friends that can come over while you're holding the cat, maybe have them sit on the other side of the room and maybe have them come over and feed the cat or give the cat a treat and then walk away, leave the cat wanting a little bit. You know, it's a great question, Mike, because very often I get the question where my dog hates my girlfriend or my dog hates my boyfriend and my cat hates this or that. Generally speaking, cats learn through association too. So either there was a negative association with women or no association with women at all. And bless you for taking this kitten in. So if you can find a nice friend of yours that's a female that can come over and maybe be there when you're holding the cat and just talking gently and giving treats to the cat or just talking to the cat. But the most important thing right now is when there's no females around, having her hear the sound of females voice-wise is critical. Another thing I may recommend after you've done that for a while is also to maybe get an article. Do it very carefully, Mike, in Washington State. Get an article of someone you know's clothing. A woman. Leave that around the house. Maybe put that around where the cat is going to eat. Or kind of put it temporarily where the cat sleeps and then move it away. The more time the cat has to spend hearing a woman or smelling a woman with nothing negative happening, the quicker they will respond. But it was a great observation on your part and a great question. But it will resolve itself, I promise, if you in fact follow the advice I just gave you. Thanks for that question, Mike. And again, I can't thank you enough because a lot of people would just drive by, but actually stopping and taking the cats. I'm sure it broke your heart to see the dead kittens there as well. Great question, by the way. I have the best listeners in the world, without a doubt. The most amazing people. If you've been listening to the Pet Show for almost the 50 years we've been on, here there's amazing stories. One of the calls I remember the most was a woman driving through Arizona. I think it was northern Arizona on Route 40, just outside of Flagstaff. And there was a dog lying on the side. She just happened to notice it. It turned out to be a three-legged dog, a tripod as we call them, that was abandoned by someone. Man, would I like to spend 5 minutes in a closed room with someone who can throw or abandon a three-legged dog out in the northern part of Arizona where it gets really cold and snowy. Anyway, to get to my point, which I often forget, one of my listeners on the show, I brought that up. One of my listeners on the show rescued the dog, brought the dog to their home, took care of the dog, and wound up adopting the dog. So this dog had this incredible home. Just the way my listeners are. And you know what? It always pays you back double. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through. So the question came up. Had someone text me this week. Actually, it was an email. And they were asking me about vaccinations. Should I vaccinate my dog and cat, or should I not vaccinate my dog or cat? It's a question that comes up often. And I think the reason for that is because there's so much vaccine hesitancy among human beings. And I always said what affects us goes right down our arm to the end of the leash sooner or later. Now, there's been a lot of stories, an awful lot of stories about vaccination hesitancy among people. But now it seems that people are actually sharing this hesitancy when it comes to their pets. People are worried about too many shots at the same time. They're worried about side effects. Some believe that all natural immunity is the best option. So what is my response? Here we go. Some vaccines, like rabies, are in fact required by law in many parts of the country. Therefore, I recommend it. Core vaccinations like parvo, distemper, recommended but not mandated. So what pets need to be vaccinated will vary depending on a lot of factors. So when the question came up, should I vaccinate or shouldn't I vaccinate? I put a list together of things you should check in to consider. Number one, do I give all my dogs all the vaccinations that are recommended? No. My dogs are kind of in my backyard most of the time, so they're not exposed to a lot of things. So what pets really need to be vaccinated will vary depending on factors like their age, the geographic location, exposure risk from daily routines. Like, do you go to the dog park on a regular basis? What about doggy daycare? You should always have conversations with your veterinarian. Don't be afraid to question, does my dog or my cat really need that vaccination or not? My dogs had a reaction to a leptospirosis vaccination. They'll never get another one. Speak with your vet, but remember, a lot of things go into making a decision about all the different vaccinations. That conversation should be had with your vet and an open mind. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. And we are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. That phone number, 877-725-825. Don't forget to follow me on YouTube. I share a lot of info there. youtube.com/Warren Eckstein. You know, I compiled a list this week. I'm going to get to some more questions in a bit, but I compiled a list this week of the most common pet questions asked to me over the last almost 50 years. And these are questions that were not only asked to me on my radio, you know, but also asked to me doing the Today Show or Regis and Kathy Lee or Letterman, whatever. But these are the most common questions asked. Number one, house training. So many people have a difficult time housebreaking their dog. I don't want to sound egotistical. Maybe I do. If you have a dog that's healthy, most dogs, I'm not talking about little bitsy puppies now, but most dogs can be housebroken in a period of 12 to 14 days. So why do people have such a big problem housebreaking their dog? I'll tell you why. Let's assume the dog has an accident in your house. And for years, people were told to take their dog over to where the dog had an accident. God knows what, they rub his nose in it, yell, bad dog, phooey, what did you do? Wait till daddy comes home, all that garbage. Hear me out. You hear me say every week, dogs learn to association, right? So if you take that dog over to where he went, number one, no pun intended, or number two, all you're doing is telling the dog it's bad to go in that spot. So he moves to another spot, not getting the idea that the act of going, that's bad. And number two, if the dog is having an accident, I'm talking about a healthy dog now, and he has the occasional accident, by spending too much time telling him it was bad, you should not have accidents, phooey, you're paying a lot of attention to it. So if you don't normally pay a lot of attention, you're one of those people that works 12 hours a day and goes to the gym or whatever, the dog starts to understand, just like children. If I whine or I cry, I'm going to get more attention. The dog says, well, if I poop, I'm going to get a lot of attention, especially if I poop on their favorite carpet. So housebreaking is just a matter of regulating the food, regulating their schedule, walking them at specific times during the day, and praising them when they go outside, and giving them the opportunity to go. I said this once before, and I'll say it again. I heard a guy say to their dog when they were taking him for a walk, hurry up and poop, hurry up and pee. That's the guy I want to stand behind at the urinal, just so I can say, hurry up and pee so I can get out of here. Give your dog the opportunity to sniff and pee or poop where they want. Quick break, then right back at you. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show.
Warren Eckstein, the man for your pets. We're trying to stumble, but we haven't yet. Your dog is barking, your cat missed the box. Your ferret's chewed up all your favorite socks. He sure knows how to get inside your pet's head. But maybe it's you who needs to be trained instead.
And welcome. If you have questions or comments about your dog or cat's behavior, want to find out why they behave the way they do, Great time to give me a call. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. But as I say every week, we get really darn busy here at the Pet Show. So it's, sometimes we run out of time. But you can call the Pet Show 24 hours, 7 days a week. Of course, I'm not going to answer it at 3 o'clock in the morning, but leave your question and I'll try to get to it on the following week's show or the week after. So you can always leave your question 24/7 at 877-725-8255. Coming up, can cats be taught to fetch? Can cats be taught to fetch? I know what you're thinking. All right, Warren? Maybe you're spending too much time in the desert. Maybe I am. But we're going to talk about that coming up. But before I do that, anyone who's been listening to me or watching me for the last 50 years knows that my whole life is based on how many animals you and I can save and help together. And I never quite, I understand the concept that certain people may have grown up with a German Shepherd and therefore they want a German Shepherd, which, by the way, are available at rescues all over the country. Some people grew up with Cocker Spaniels, so they want a Cocker Spaniel. There are Cocker Spaniel rescues all over. I'm not an abolitionist when it comes to breeding if it's done professionally. However, let me tell you what's going on. I used to live in New York. I lost my accent, right? The New York Post went undercover. This shocked the heck out of me. There was a pet store in Queens selling, you ready for this? Asian bred puppies for up to $38,000. Now, New York has a ban on selling puppies, but some way they got around it. A Queens home is actually doubling. I'd like to share the news with you because I know you don't hear it all. A Queens home is doubling as a designer dog emporium, brazenly hawking dozens of posh pooches for as much as $38,000. And that's despite, as I said, New York's puppy bill ban. There's a whole line of underground pet stores. But they're selling a breed called a Pomchi, or a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix, $7,800. A Maltipom, Pomeranian Maltese, $8,800. A Pomapoo, a Pomeranian Poodle, $9,800. How do you go to a shelter or a rescue and look in the eyes of these animals behind these cages that will turn out to be the most amazing animals you ever had and go spend thousands of dollars, excuse me, made me cough, thousands of dollars on a designer pet? Who would do that? Yet people are doing it. They got to find these places. You got to close them down. Makes me absolutely crazy. Every shelter, every rescue is filled. I'm not going to get on a bandwagon here because I know you're my listeners and you adopt and rescue so many of your dogs. And I'm so appreciative of that. Who's buying these dogs? And according to the report, the people that are selling these dogs, they have relatives in other parts of the world, and they have these puppy mill pipeline. Unbelievable that I even got to talk about this. 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let me take another call here from my very patient listener, Paul, in the great state of Delaware. Hey, Paul, welcome to the Pet Show.
We adopted a rescue husky about a month ago. She's approximately about 3 years old. Everything's good except for one issue that we have is she has very bad separation anxiety, and she will actually pee in the house if we're gone, or if she doesn't have any companionship for more than, I would say, about an hour, maybe two max. It's very disturbing that, we took her to the vet, and we do not want to put her on Prozac. That was one of the suggestions. And just open to any thoughts that you might have.
Yeah, when you went to the vet, did the vet talk to you at all about behavior? I guess he didn't. I guess probably because he said he wanted to get the dog on Firmos. Now, I'm not against that, but listen to me really, really, really carefully. In the last 8 to 10 years. Besides housebreaking, jumping, digging, and barking, separation anxiety is one of the most common questions, Paul. I'm going to give you everything I know how to resolve it. Number one, bless you for rescuing this dog. Use the term separation anxiety. Most trainers use the term separation anxiety. Most pet guardians use the term separation anxiety. And it could very possibly be separation anxiety, something you're not considering. Maybe the dog is suffering from something I call abandonment issues. What does that mean? What's the difference between separation anxiety and abandonment issues? Separation anxiety means the dog's not comfortable being left alone. Doesn't like being by itself at all, especially a rescue dog that was getting a lot of attention from you. On the other hand, abandonment issues are different. You rescued this dog. I don't know how many homes this dog may have had, but every time you leave this, and I love huskies, but every time you leave, Paul, this rescue dog is saying to himself, is Paul ever going to come back, or am I abandoned again? So abandonment feelings and separation feelings aren't always the same. Now, you said that the dog is peeing. When a dog pees, especially in the house when their guardians or owners are gone, what does it mean? Either you didn't walk them enough, they're not housebroken, not the case, I don't believe, with you. But dogs use their urine as a marker. It's a sign. You know, I always joke that when a dog pees, it's kind of like the internet for them. It's like Google. So when you have a dog that's either been abandoned before or maybe mistreated before, when you leave him alone and you come home and you find that he peed, it could very well be the fact that he's leaving that urine marking in hopes that Paul will find his way back. So anger is no way to resolve it. Here's what we need to do. We need to really start using some good, solid counter conditioning. I'm going to spend some time with you, Paul. I want the dog, number one, I want you to start practicing going out and coming back in. Not even out of the house. Just going into another room in the house, closing the door for a couple of minutes, then coming back in. Don't make a big deal of it either. After you've done that, I want you to start going out the front door of the house for a couple of minutes, then come back in the house. I want you to be really conscientious about this, because separation anxiety is one of the most common reasons that dogs wind up at shelters. Let me do this, okay? I don't want to rush you, so let me take a break here. And when I come back, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you and to so many thousands of people listening how to deal with either separation anxiety or your dog's abandonment issues, how to focus and change it so the dog says, wow, I can't wait till they leave. I'll be happy when they're gone. We'll take a quick break, then we'll get back to you. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. Rocking out to Disco Duck here. Hey, we are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Hey, before the break, I was answering a question from one of my listeners, Paul in Delaware, who rescued a husky suffering with, he called separation anxiety, and I started explaining the difference between separation anxiety and abandonment issues. And the fact that so many of you rescue animals and save them, a lot of you go through this. So I want to spend some time on it. Number one, very often the dog associates you leaving with not coming back, i.e. abandonment issues, or separation anxiety at that point. So what we want to do is start making sure that the dog's association with you leaving is not a negative thing. So many people will give the dog their trigger by grabbing their coat, grabbing their purse, grabbing their car keys, and leaving. That triggers your dog off to the point that you're going. In some dogs, they don't want to be by themselves. In other cases, as I believe in this case, the dog fears that maybe you're not coming back ever again. It's happened to him before. So what you need to do is make sure when you leave and practice leaving, don't make a big deal of it. I know we all want to say goodbye. I'm going to the store. I'll be back in. No, don't make a big deal out of leaving. Just leave. This is practice now. Walk out of the house, walk back in a couple of minutes later. And I know it's hard, but when you come back, the dog's excited. Wait a second or two before you give him that hug, that kiss, that praise. That's important as well. Practice, again, going out for short periods of time. That means walking out the front door, coming in the back door, going out the back door, coming in the front door. Again, none of those long goodbyes. Counter conditioning is simply taking what the dog or the cat or whatever animal is afraid of and turning it into a positive experience. When you leave a radio on. I recommend a talk station or a TV with talk, so the dog is hearing voices all the time. Helps prevent loneliness. Take some of the dog's favorite toys or favorite items and put them around the house. Not always the same ones. Rotate them to keep the dog's interest. In extreme cases, I've actually taken articles of unwashed clothing and put those around the house, so your scent, as strong as it may be in the house, is even stronger. And be positive. Be positive. If the dog makes a mistake when you're gone, it's not the end of the world. Boy, if the dog corrected us for every mistake we made, we'd be in the doghouse, no pun intended. So make sure when you leave, it's always a positive experience for the dog, a special treat, a toy that he only gets when you leave. What about exercise? You know, one of the books I wrote, early 80s, was a book called Pet Aerobics. And it talked about exercise. Before you leave, give your dog an aerobics class. Exercise him. Tired dogs are more apt to sleep than to worry about you being gone. Now, there are certain cases that are really extreme, like Paul's vet recommended pheromones. I'm not against it. I think it's a great idea. Can't hurt, could only help. But also some good solid training. And you might be saying, Warren, why training? What are you talking about? Why would you train a dog because of separation anxiety? In my book, How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want, I focus on building up your dog's confidence, building up your dog's self-image. A dog that's confident and a dog that has good self-esteem and self-image is less apt to panic when you're gone. Training in a positive way helps really, really build that confidence. So, Paul, it was an absolutely amazing question. Separation anxiety. A lot of people have that. A lot of my listeners, based on the fact of rescue animals, abandonment issues, separation anxiety, using that counter conditioning, make it a positive experience. Don't leave for long periods of time, at least when you're practicing. Let the dog associate leaving with something amazing, a special toy, a special product, and increase that exercise exercise. It can make all the difference in the world. I was just dealing the other day with someone who adopted a dog that had severe separation anxiety, and I put them on a program, and they're doing fine. Is it going to make every dog perfect? No. But it can make a big difference in terms of that one dog that you saved. Separation anxiety, abandonment. By the way, if you go to my YouTube, there's a whole video I did on separation anxiety and abandonment issues, as well as the website, thepetshow.com. So check it out. Love my listeners. You guys are absolutely the best. Absolutely the best. I'm looking for something I want to share with you guys now. So I would say that when I started doing this show, 45, 46, 40, some years ago, people would ask me, Warren, can cats be trained? I said yes. My peers said no. My listeners said, they can learn this, they can learn that, but they can't be trained, especially. Can anyone possibly teach a cat to fetch? We'll talk about that in a bit. The phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. Let me take a quick break here. Then we'll talk about whether or not you can teach your cat to fetch. All right, here we go. I used to have a duck. I had many ducks. I'm not telling a quick story. I had my own little sanctuary for a while in upstate New York, just outside of Albany, a small town called Carlisle. And I rescued a lot of animals. I had 30 dogs, 32 cats, two 1,200-pound pickens, rescued chickens, rescued ducks, rescued guinea pigs, a couple of snakes. Anyway, it was my own rescue, okay? And the bottom line is, someone called me that they had a duck, and the duck had a broken leg and couldn't walk. And the other ducks it was living with were trying to kill this duck because it was disabled. Now, I grew up, my father was in the auto body work, so I grew up working with metal and tools my whole life. I made an artificial leg for the duck that I had. Snowflake, that was the duck's name. Just came to me many, many years ago. So I made this, it wasn't pretty, but it worked. But even with the artificial leg that I made for Snowflake the duck, the other ducks did not accept her and they challenged her all the time. So I had to try something different. One of my pigs, Corky, I love Corky, amazing pig, very smart, appeared several times on a Letterman show with me. But anyway, I said, you know what? What if I introduce Corky and Snowflake together? As gentle as Corky is and as crazy as Snowflake is, just maybe just the match made in heaven. Well, I did. I introduced Snowflake to Corky. I'm going to post a photo of it on my YouTube. And they became best of friends. And for years after that, Snowflake would sit on Corky's back when she was lying down. They would eat together. They would play together. They became best friends. This was a duck that didn't have a shot. And I'm so proud of the artificial limb. I should have patented it, I guess. Anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. I do go off sometimes. Can cats be trained? Most people believe you can only play fetch with dogs. However, didn't take a study for me. A brand new study published in Scientific Journal concludes that cats can also enjoy the fun of fetching. Study was based on over 1,000 cats. As a matter of fact, more than 90% of cats that were examined started engaging in the activity on their own. The study found that cats first started displaying their ability to fetch within the first year of their life. And there's a specific breed that seems to like fetch more than other breeds. It's the Siamese cat. Now, cats might not be motivated the same way to play fetch, motivated the same reasons to play fetch, while dogs view it as a way of bonding with their owner. Cats look at it a little differently. It's a matter of catching their prey and bringing it back. You know, you found that dead rodent or that dead bird on your back porch. In a cat's mind, that's what fetch is all about. So the answer is yes, cats can be taught to fetch. My cat's fetched. Your cats can fetch. Just takes a little time, a lot of patience, and a little wine. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255, 877-725-8255. That is the way to get through to the Pet Show. You know, let me take another call right now. Let's go to my friend Karen. Karen's also calling, by the way, from Delaware, and she has a question for me. Hey, Karen, welcome to the Pet Show.
We have two kittens. Well, they're a year old. We've always had the litter genie robot thing, whatever. They both used it greatly. And then all of a sudden, our newest cat decided to just poop on our carpets. So we picked the carpets up, the rugs. We brought in a separate litter box for her. They both use it. She's using it. But last week, she left another poop on the entry carpet. I didn't know if you had any thoughts or suggestions.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of suggestions. Number one, for some cats, the automatic litter box is great. For other cats, even though they were using it, something may have happened while they were using it. Maybe they had diarrhea. Maybe they were constipated when they went in there, so they pooped outside of it. very often when a cat has an association with a diarrhea or being constipated in a litter box, it chases them right out of the litter box. However, we're not dealing with an average litter box here. We're dealing with the litter box that you're talking about, the automatic litter box. The first thing I would do is I would turn off the automatic cleaning function on that automatic litter box. You can turn that on and off. If you turn that off, that might encourage the cat to go back in. Maybe it was in there and somehow, for whatever reason, the function clicked in and it made a noise and freaked the cat out. That could be part of it. Also, try experimenting with different types of litter. What I would even try to do is take some soiled litter from the other litter box you put down and put a little bit of that litter into the litter box, the automatic litter box. Try to keep the litter box fresh. Try to keep it clean. That's critical. And here's my first response. Whenever you have a cat that's been using a litter box or a litter robot consistently and they stop, you have to consider any type of medical issue, like diarrhea, like constipation. Cats learn associative, and that means if they have one, that may stop them from going there. Now, it's possible, for whatever reason, as I said, the cat could have been stressed out by that robot, by the litter robot. Maybe it kicked in. Also, maybe there's other changes in the house that are affecting the cat. You know, cats are very sensitive to their environment. Cats can also be fickle creatures. They could be consistent for 5 years, then all of a sudden change their behavior. Try identifying any changes that may have occurred prior to the cat not using the litter box we're talking about. Check the litter robot for signs of damage or whatever. First thing is, number one, make sure that the cat is not having any physiological issues. Take a little bit of the soiled litter, put it in the kitty litter in that litter box. See if that makes a difference. My gut reaction, something different happened. Either there's a medical reason or there's some type of emotional reason that freaked the cat out. No reason you can't get the cat back into the remote, into that automatic litter boxes. I don't have a cat at the moment. I did a segment on it years ago. As a matter of fact, I worked with a bunch of kittens. I was actually confined in a kitten cage with one of these litter things, and the cats didn't seem to like it, although nowadays cats seem to love it. Millions have been sold. So anyway, make sure the cat is healthy. Try using some of the kitten pheromones that are available on the market. I would also have a quick run by your veterinarian to make sure he's healthy. And check out, if there's anyone else living in the house, check out and see if there's any changes going on there as well. Not uncommon, but I did have a situation a couple of years ago where someone called up with a similar problem. And the problem was, again, the cat stopped using it after using it for a long period of time. And it turned out that what happened is for whatever reason, the cleaning thing kicked on while the cat was in a litter box. And the cat after that just said, there's no way. So great question, by the way, Karen, but you should have no problem following my advice, that is, and getting the cat back into the box. Phone number here at the Pet Show, 877-725-8255. Just a reminder, if you're not following me on my YouTube channel, I put a lot of great videos there. In fact, what you're listening to right now will be on my YouTube channel. So check out youtube.com/Warren Eckstein, Eckstein. Subscribe, it's free. You'll be seeing a lot of new stuff popping up on my YouTube channel. Quick break, then right back to your calls. I'm Warren Eckstein. This is The Pet Show. I love listening to Rin Tin Tin. It makes me go back to my childhood. I remember as a child, my first dog was a German Shepherd. I've talked about this so many times. My father actually bought this German Shepherd at Macy's. They used to sell German Shepherds. They used to sell puppies at Macy's, especially on Long Island where I lived. Anyway, we got the dog home, and I would watch Rin Tin Tin every Saturday morning. Now, growing up on Long Island, in my backyard was nothing. It was a creek and weeds and my own frontier. And after watching Rin Tin Tin, me and Smokey, Beautiful dog, by the way. We go out into the weeded area by the creek, and we would take on the world. I'll never forget that. It was just such an incredible time. Smokey, my dog, and Rin Tin Tin. But when I was growing up, as many of you, and I talked about this before, you either watch Lassie or Rin Tin Tin, or maybe both. Throw in Sky King and Fury and Flicker, but anyway. So a lot of my friends either had a collie because they were big Lassie fans, or a German Shepherd because they were Rin Tin Tin fans. And I happen to have a German Shepherd because I love Rin Tin Tin, but I love Lassie as well. My father was a big German Shepherd fan also. I'll never forget the growing up with the dog and what a difference she made in my life. She really did. So just so you know that if you want a German Shepherd or a collie, they're still available. But you can go to your local rescues. You can call the rescue groups for these breeds and find so many available there. Now, someone just texted me and said, Warren, you sound a little different. I've been listening to you for over 20 years and you sound a little different. What's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I'm in the middle of this horrendous oral surgery. The whole bottom of my mouth is being redone. So if I sound a little funny or a little funky, don't blame it on me, as long as I'm giving you good info. The phone number, 877-725-8255. I'm Warren Eckstein, and yes, you are listening to The Pet Show. We got plenty of cats. We are back on The Pet Show. I'm Warren Eckstein. Phone number here, 877-725-8255. Just a reminder, you can call that 24/7 and leave me a question, and I'll try to get to them on next week's show or the week after, but I will get to them, I promise. A new survey from GoodRx Research says more than 44% of pet owners are now reporting giving their pets prescriptions. But many pet owners say the costs are straining their budgets. GoodRx, a platform for medication savings, examined the survey findings. Here are the key takeaways. Among pet owners, 44% give their pet a prescription medication in the past 12 months. More than 1 in 3 dogs and cats are treated for chronic health conditions. Nearly 75% of pet owners report their pet's prescription cost is burdensome. So how do you save money? Do you have to buy your prescriptions from the veterinarian? You can get them from the vet, but you can have them filled at Costco. You can have them filled at Kroger. You can have them filled at your local store with GoodRx. There are lots of ways to cut down the cost. You never want to stop giving the medication your veterinarian prescribed for your dog or your cat. But I understand the costs can be pretty high. But now, according to GoodRx and many different ways you can save money. And as I said, Costco, Kroger's, any of the supermarkets, any of the Walgreens or CVS or Duane Reade, wherever you are, all of them have some type of program for medications for your pets. And you don't want to stop giving your dog or your cat medication. You just want to be able to afford it. So check it out. Shop around. I do. Shop around. You can save some money. Another way you can save money is by making sure your pets are in good shape. So how do you know if your dog is overweight? Before you try to get your cat or dog to lose weight, you need to know whether it's actually overweight. According to some reports from Upper Arlington Veterinary Hospital, about 55 to 60% of household cats and dogs are overweight. Almost 60%. Consulting a veterinarian is always best. You can usually easily tell if the pet is overweight by checking them from the top and side views. You should be able to feel their ribs with a gentle touch. When you look at them from above, you should be able to see the waist where the abdomen tucks in. Overweight, a little overweight, is fine. But when your dog or your cat becomes really overweight and obese, it affects them the same way it affects us. Diabetes, arthritis, chronic pain can make a big difference. Let me leave you guys with this. We're almost out of time. I want you to check out my social media. I'm sharing a lot more information there. Facebook, Warren Eckstein. Instagram, Warren Eckstein. ThePetShow.com, that's my website. Check it out. You'll find a lot of interesting stuff about me, my mafia clients. Interesting. Check out ThePetShow.com. Yeah, Carlo Gambino was a client of mine. I don't say that too loudly. Also, check out the YouTube at Warren Eckstein. Until next week, Give all your dogs and all your cats a big hug and a kiss for you, one between the ears for me. I'm Warren Eckstein, and thank you for listening to The Pet Show.